Hello world, Jasmine here with my comic reviews of the week. The first book I reviewed is from Radical Publishing. It is Damaged. It's like your classic vigilante story, and I really liked it. The art was half like sketchy and grimy and dark, and the other half was really clean and polished, depending on where you were in the whole story. It's set in San Francisco, which is equally as awesome, and it gives you this really cool cop drama. So I really enjoyed it. I gave it like 4 out of 5 nerd skulls. If it sounds like something you like to read, it's coming out in August, so go to radicalpublishing.com to order it, or have your local comic shop reorder it for you. My next review is Citizen Cold. It is a Flashpoint tie-in, and I gotta say, it was super awesome. All these tie-ins have actually been really good for Flashpoint, which is rare, and I was really scared they were gonna be really bad because there's so many of them, and they're actually like blowing me away with the story that they're adding to just the main Flashpoint title. Citizen Cold's really cool though. He's got like his own undercover identity that he's afraid to get out, and you see this really cool projection of the rogues, which is also really awesome, so you should definitely check it out. I give it like 3 out of 5 nerd skulls. Alrighty, and my last book to review is Green Lantern Abin Sur. I really wanted to review this just because you don't get to see a lot of Abin Sur stories, and you sort of get a cool background on like where his heart was, you know, when he like had to go to Earth and stuff. Really enjoyed it. It was kind of slow at first, and the ending I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So it's really cool, and obviously Flashpoint is in a different world, sort of, so you get a different take on things that have happened recently in the Green Lantern universe, so definitely check it out and give it 4 out of 5 nerd skulls.
Hey y'all, it's Cubby here with my comic reviews this week. My first one is Emperor Aquaman, the Flashpoint tie-in. Now, out of the 3 books that I did read this week, this one was the weakest of the 3. I was not as excited as I was for the other ones, which might play into my not being so happy about the ending, but it kind of just left a lot of questions. One of the other books, they both play into Flashpoint number 2, and one of them picks off right where something happened in that book. This one is way before that. It's a lot more backstory. So I'm gonna wait till the next issue to really like give till I formulate a stronger opinion, but so far it's a decent book. It tells a decent story, and it gets everything else moving along. I'm gonna give that one 2 out of 5 nerd skulls. My second review this week is Deathstroke and the Curse of the Ravager. Now this one, surprise hit for me, because I actually didn't think it was gonna be that cool. I just wanted to read it because I love Deathstroke, but oh my god, the story was really, really cool. It picks up, it leads up to what happens in Flashpoint with Emperor Aquaman and Deathstroke. Really, really cool book. If you're a fan of Deathstroke, Ravager, any of those Teen Titan villains, it's really cool. And plus his team of pirates that he gets, so cool, and I'm really glad to see that they're kind of thinking outside of the box of who he'd work with. I'm gonna give this one 3.5 out of 5 nerd skulls. My last book that I read this week was Frankenstein and the Creatures of the Unknown. Surprise hit of this year so far. One of the best books I've read all year. I love Frankenstein's character. I love what Grant Morrison did to him in 7 Soldiers. I love how he revitalized him and gave him this great purpose of fighting evil. And this is all that he does in this entire book. He fights evil, there's fighting Nazis, and he does some awesome stuff to our most like hated Nazi ever, which is really sweet. The team that he works with is like a wolf man, it's like a vampire, it's like a creature from the Black Lagoon, which is really sweet. And I just want to see how this plays out. I don't know how it's going to play into Flashpoint, but it looks awesome. I'm going to give this one 4 out of 5 nerd skulls.
Hey there, nerds. Steven here with my comic book reviews for this week. I'm going to be reviewing 2 of them. First one is X-Men Legacy, issue 250. It was good, but I have some issues with it, which I'll get into after some discussion of it. The main idea of it is, in the last one, they were talking about Legion and how some of his abilities, after they've got it kind of on lockdown, aren't there, and they just don't know what's going on with it. And they found out that they're actually kind of in the world, and they've got to go hunt them down, which was really cool. It was a cool idea of going to hunt for them, figuring out how to capture them, the different powers they have, seeing them outside of his body. The issue I had was it left such like you want a cliffhanger of what's happening with Rogue and Magneto, and then it's just like, oh, that didn't happen. It hints at it towards the end of it, but then it's just like it doesn't talk about it any more than that. And I was really interested to know what was happening, and they just didn't do it. It was still good enough that you're like, oh, that bugs me, but I'll let it slide. But it does slightly hint at what happened in the end, but not through their perspective, but through somebody else's, which was pretty interesting. And so I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 skulls. My second comic book review is Fear Itself, Deadpool. I understand that Deadpool is often a comedy comic book, you know, that's the way they kind of approach it with it, but for me it just seemed kind of weird mixing the whole Fear Itself, this epic storyline, with Deadpool, and it's just the path they took of not even really addressing what's happening in Fear Itself. It doesn't add to the Fear Itself story at all. It could completely be its own story, but because they're trying to mix it with Fear Itself, and it has nothing really to do with it, it seems, I'm gonna have to give it only a 2.5 out of 5 skulls.
Hey guys, Bobby here with my comic review for the week. It's going to be Green Lantern, which is the prelude to the movie coming out and is the perfect issue to read if you don't know too much about Green Lantern. You also get to know a little bit of coolness about each one of the characters, like what Kilowog can do with his particular constructs and what Hal Jordan can do with his particular constructs. You should check out this issue, even if you do know about Green Lantern, because it was a nice little refresher. I'm going to give this book 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
First off is the Flashpoint tie-in, Batman Night of Vengeance. I was very excited for this, being a giant Batman fan. I was very excited for this, being a giant Batman fan, just to kind of see with the revelation at the end of Flashpoint 1 to find out who Batman is, and kind of seeing like what path they're taking. Very different from the Batman we've been reading. There's a whole different setup, the way it's handled, the way Gotham PD looks at it. If you're a fan of Flashpoint or just of Batman, this is something you should definitely pick up. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 skulls. A second review this week is World of Flashpoint. Now this was a title I wasn't really sure on because it looked like one of the other just extra tie-in books, but I actually really like this. It's Tracy 13 is the main person in the book, and it's really cool because you actually get to see the entire world and what's fallen into what, like who holds what countries, and it's really neat. So it gives you a much more in-depth view of the actual world of Flashpoint, more than just the main storyline. So if you're into that story, I would definitely get this one as well. I can't wait to read more of these because I really want to see where else they go with it. I'm going to give this one 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. My last review this week is Secret 7, number 1, another Flashpoint tie-in. This is the only one I was a little iffy on. The art's not all that strong. It's a good story, but they kind of didn't really show you where they were going with it. I'm definitely going to keep reading it, but it wasn't one of the stronger tie-ins that I've read so far. Saying that, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.